Guys, Christmas is coming closer, and while I love Christmas time in the US, the German Adventszeit, Advent time, will always hold a special place in my heart. And you don't necessarily have to travel to Germany for that experience. I'll show you everything you need for a real German Christmas at home. So grab a cup of tea, a hot chocolate, or some Glühwein, and dive into the world of German Christmas with me. Hello, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on and off since 2016. And this year will be the third time ever that I'm not going home to Germany for Christmas, because Ben went to Munich with me last year to celebrate with my family, and this year we'll be celebrating here with his family. And what do I do if I have to miss out on all of the German Christmas traditions? I'll just recreate them here, and you can too, but first, I think we gotta do something about my outfit. Oh, well, perfect for going to the Christmas market, but I think it's a little too warm for in here. Let's try this again. Okay, yes, that's better. So the official start of Christmas time in Germany is on the first Advent Sunday, Erster Advent, which this year is on November 27th. The 4 Advent Sundays mark the weeks leading up to Christmas, and that's what we refer to as Adventszeit, Advent time. That's really when the radio stations will start playing Christmas music, people get their decorations out, and it's also when the Christmas markets take place. Well, some of them start a little earlier than that, but the ones that haven't opened yet will do so this weekend, so on the first Advent weekend. And that's probably one of the main things that many of you think of when it comes to Christmas in Germany, the famous German Christmas markets with all of the little wooden booths where you can buy anything from Christmas ornaments to hand-knitted scarves to delicacies like local honey. The smell of roasted almonds and crepes is in the air, and people are drinking hot punch, Glühwein, and Feuerzangenbowle. The most famous Christmas market is, without a doubt, the one in Nuremberg. It's one of the biggest ones in all of Germany, and its history can be traced back all the way to the 17th century. In southern Germany, where I'm from, and in Austria, we usually refer to these markets as Christkindlmarkt, after the Christkind, the Christ child, that brings the presents in our regions, while in other parts of Germany, they're simply called Weihnachtsmarkt or even Wintermarkt. Munich has beautiful Christmas markets as well, over 30 different ones in the whole city, and they're actually taking place again this year. Last year when Ben and I were there, Munich had canceled their Christmas markets, so if you are in Germany this year, definitely check them out. They're absolutely magical. But even here in the US, you can find some great German-style Christmas markets. Last year, I got to visit the one in Chicago, and that one definitely felt like home. It had all the German food and lots of vendors that had come in from Germany, but you can really find them all over the country. Here in Cincinnati, they even have a brand new one this year, the Servati Christkindlmarkt, that's gonna take place downtown. It's opening tomorrow, and even though there's a cover charge, I already know that that's where you're gonna find me the next few weeks. Now, of course, Christmas markets aren't really something that you can bring home, but there are many things where that's different, like an Adventskranz, an Advent wreath. This is something that most households in Germany have around Christmas time. You can buy them fully decorated at the store in Germany, or you can decorate them yourself. That's what we always did growing up. Some families even make the actual wreath themselves. We would always just buy a plain wreath and then put Christmas decorations on it, and of course, the candles. In Germany, the wreaths are usually made with real twigs. The one that I have here isn't. I got this one off Amazon. I thought it was like a nice little twist with the wood underneath, because the one I had last time was just kind of cheap and fake looking. So this one's definitely an upgrade, but they're not really a common thing in the US. I think it's mostly Catholic communities who have them here, even though historically Advent wreaths are actually Lutheran, but I've never personally seen one at a store. You can order them online like I did with this one, but I think the best option, honestly, if you live in the US or in a country where you can't get them at the store, is probably buying one of these big door wreaths and then just decorating it yourself. But to be completely honest, I just didn't have the time to do that this year. But I think this one's cute and it does the job. The most important element are, of course, the 4 candles that, you guessed it, correlate to the 4 Advent Sundays. This upcoming Sunday, I'll be able to light the first candle, and then each week you get to light an additional candle until on the 4th Advent Sunday, all 4 of them will be on. In my elementary school in Munich, we had a big Advent wreath hanging from the ceiling in the lobby, and during Advent time, we always had a big gathering on Friday mornings where the next candle was lit in a little ceremony, and then students would recite poems and we would all sing Advent songs together, like this one for example. Or this one.
Advent, Advent, ein Lichtlein brennt. Erst 1, dann 2, dann 3, dann 4.
An Advent wreath isn't something that you can only use on Sundays, by the way. You can light it anytime you want, or at least the candles that have already been lit before, but it makes for a really nice cozy Christmas atmosphere in the living room at night, for example, or when you have people over and you sit together over a cup of tea and Plätzchen and Lebkuchen. Plätzchen is the German word for Christmas cookies, and Lebkuchen translates to gingerbread, but it's actually a little different than the gingerbread that you'll find here in the US. Lebkuchen is usually a little softer or more moist, it's kind of hard to explain, and sweeter, and if you ask me, a little better than gingerbread. And that brings us to the next essential element of German Christmas, the food. We have a saying in German that goes, Liebe geht durch den Magen, love goes through the stomach, or the way to love is through the stomach, and I believe that this is also very true for creating that Christmas feeling. And I gotta say that I've been spoiled this year because I got this enormous festive chest from Lebkuchen Schmidt, and this honestly contains everything I need to feel at home and really get into Christmas mood. This has literally all of the things I'd be eating in Germany, so a big thank you to European Deli for sending me this. European Deli is the #1 source for Lebkuchen Schmidt here in the US, and even beyond that, they have so many other German and European delicacies on their shop that you can't usually get in the US, such as Dr. Oetker pudding, which is simply a German classic. They have different baking ingredients that you can't find here, including German baking powder and flour, which, by the way, are both different from the American equivalent. You can get typical German condiments like sweet mustard or Maggi or curry ketchup, or red cabbage like I used it in my Bavarian cooking video the other day. And they even have a full-on Christmas section with advent calendars, we'll get to those in a little bit, truffles, Lübecker Marzipan, and literally anything you could dream of for Christmas. And they also have non-food items from Europe, such as handcrafted nutcrackers or music boxes, which would definitely make for a great gift. I'm very glad that they reached out to me to collaborate because these products alone really make me feel like home. And they also gave me a discount code for my viewers, for you guys, that will get you 10% off on the entire shop. All you have to do is type in the code Feli, F-E-L-I, at the checkout at europeandeli.com and save 10% on your order. They ship to all 50 states of the US and even internationally, so all you gotta do is submit your order and then sit back and enjoy the holidays. Now, let's take a look at this chest. First of all, the box itself is absolutely beautiful. I know it's kind of filling out half the frame, but I'm gonna put a clip for you. I think it shows Nuremberg in the Middle Ages, or I don't know what time period that would be exactly, but Nuremberg definitely makes sense since Lebkuchen Schmidt is located there. And Nuremberg is kind of like Germany's Christmas capital. I mean, they have the famous Christmas market and they have Nürnberger Lebkuchen, which are like the crème de la crème of Lebkuchen. They're very popular, and in the Middle Ages, they were made in Nuremberg in monasteries. And Lebkuchen Schmidt is the #1 brand for Nürnberger Lebkuchen. I think everyone in Germany has heard of them before. And they've been doing mail orders for over 90 years, so they know what they're doing. Okay, let's take a look. I'm gonna move it around a little bit so that you can still see me. So first of all, we got a little note from Lebkuchen Schmidt and this really cool, what do you call that? Like a little aluminum, tin, metal picture. This would be super pretty, like hung up in a kitchen. It shows a person that makes wigs. That's really cool. And then we have all the goodness right here. It's almost 3 kilograms worth of delicacies. So the first thing that catches my eye is this beautiful tin. I mean, it's just as beautiful as the actual chest. This also shows the city of Nuremberg, and these tins are actually collectibles and great for storage. A lot of German households use these for cookies or baking supplies and things like that. I'm assuming it has Lebkuchen, and yes it does. Ooh, it has the one with the sugar glaze and the one with the chocolate glaze, and it even has little almonds on top. These are like the really, really good ones. And they're big too. Then we got this thing that says Honighimmel, so honey heaven. Let's see, I'm kind of assuming that they're Lebkuchen with Honig. Yeah, it says 4 feinste Nürnberger Elisenlebkuchen mit feinem Blütenhonig. Elisenlebkuchen means that they contain a minimum of 25% of nuts or almonds and little to no flour, which makes them extra good. And these even made Lebkuchen of the year. These have little stars as sprinkles. And this looks like dark chocolate, so I don't think I've ever had, sorry, this is loud. I don't think I've ever had Lebkuchen with honey, so super excited for that. I'm gonna just kind of pack it out and then I'm gonna decide which one I wanna try first, because I know there's a lot of Lebkuchen here, but there's also other stuff. This is absolutely adorable. It's a little Lebkuchen house, a little gingerbread house packaging. Now, how do I open this without destroying it? Okay, I got it. Oh, okay, so these are like heart-shaped. Okay, this is the one that I'm gonna start with. I already know it. Here we are. And these ones, for example, are covered at the bottom as well. This is what they look like on the inside, by the way. It has a filling too. Hold on. I think I already ate the filling. There was a filling. The ones with the filling are so good. It's kind of like a jelly kind of filling. Okay, saving this for later. So now what do I want to look at next? Feinste Nürnberger Elisenlebkuchen. So again, the round ones with the little base. And honestly, I love chocolate and I like the ones that are covered in chocolate. But for some reason with Lebkuchen, I almost like the ones that have the sugar glaze more. I don't know why that is. It's just like, it gives it this little like nice crisp. Okay, look at this. Look how pretty it is. And this type is just my favorite. And these, they don't say what they have inside because this one just tastes extra like fruity. It's so good. It's nothing like dry gingerbread or anything like that. I'm sorry that I'm talking while I'm eating. Okay, moving this a little bit more over. There's a lot of stuff in here that isn't Lebkuchen, but I'm gonna go through all the Lebkuchen first. So next up, we got something that says Marzipan Elisen. So marzipan is this like sugary paste with almonds. And not everyone likes marzipan, but I absolutely love marzipan. And marzipan is also one of those Christmas flavors. Like a lot of these German Christmas candies have marzipan in them. Ooh, and they have like this little white glaze too. I wish you guys could taste that right now. That is like the best combination. Marzipan by itself is amazing, but it fills you up really quickly because it's just like sugar and almonds, and it's like fudge kind of, like the same consistency. And this is like the perfect way to combine marzipan, and it tastes amazing. It almost tastes even better than by itself, but I think I could eat a lot of these. Okay, so I ate that whole thing. Don't judge me. Next up, this is really cool packaging. This looks awesome. Very fancy looking. Okay, so this is Elisen Schnitten. So it says Nürnberg Elisen gingerbread cookies. So it's just like a rectangular shape. And again, it has the ones with the sugar glaze and the ones with the chocolate glaze. I just like the ones with the sugar glaze the most. These are really thick too. Okay, I see 2 more Lebkuchen products. One is the Dürer Brot. And I believe that these are just kind of like little Lebkuchen pieces, and they're covered in sugar and in chocolate. So best of both worlds. This is more the dry kind of Lebkuchen, but it's really good because it's like covered so much. This almost feels a little bit more hearty, even though it's covered in the chocolate and the sugar, and it is very sweet, but because the middle is more like a dry cookie. I like this a lot. I don't know if I've ever had this. Oh, and that one also has a lot of like spice to it. I like that. Last Lebkuchen product that I see right now are weiße Lebkuchen mit Mandeln verziert. White Lebkuchen decorated with almonds. These look really traditional. They don't have like a glaze, but they're still hard. These are like a little more subtle, but also really good. Okay, I'm already really full, but some of the best things are still coming. I see this beauty, Spekulatius, and I think other people will agree with me that this is really something that brings out the full-on Christmas mood. Lebkuchen 100%, but then the second one is Spekulatius. And they're these cookies. They're made out of Mürbeteig, and I believe that that's short crust in English. And they have like Christmas spicing, and they're just absolutely delicious. This is what they look like. They're very crunchy, and they're so good. They're absolutely amazing with any kind of hot beverage. I don't drink coffee, but I'm pretty sure that they're really good to coffee, tea, chai lattes, whatever you're drinking. I feel like I'm recording an ASMR video right now with the chewing. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna have to finish this real quick. Okay, I'm officially in heaven. It's gonna get even better though with this guy. Am I holding it correctly? Nope. Christstollen or Weihnachtsstollen. And I have talked about this several times, I'm pretty sure. Some people like to compare it to fruitcake. I think that's also how I've described it in the past. And that's because it's kind of like the closest thing in the US is fruitcake. This is so much better because I know most people don't even like fruitcake. But this is just so much better. Okay, so I went and got a plate for it. And it's basically, I think you can kind of see, it almost looks like a bread loaf, but covered in powdered sugar, and it's almost like a very dense cake. It usually has raisins in it and nuts, and the way that I grew up eating it is just take a knife and you kind of cut off a slice. Okay, now that's the end part that's a little crumbly. They are kind of crumbly, but they're so good. And in my family, we even sometimes put butter on a slice of this. This is a really, really good Stollen. The only downside of these is that they fill you up very quickly. So if you want to do something that I'm doing right now, like trying a whole lot of different things, you won't be able to eat a whole lot of this because you'll be full after like one slice. Okay, I've almost tried everything. The last 3 things in here are the Plätzchen, and they have feine Zimtsterne, which Zimtsterne are like cinnamon stars, and they're a very common and popular German Christmas cookie. Then Vanillekipferl, which are like these little half-moon shaped cookies covered with vanilla, and they also have vanilla inside of them. This is like the one that we would make the most with my mom at home, and they usually turn out a little bit uglier than the ones from the professional bakeries, but they're just so good at all times. And then we got, you hear that? Woo! This chest is giving me a really big echo. So we got the Butterzeug, it says Buttergebäck, so like butter cookies. And these are just kind of like your classic Christmas cookies, Plätzchen, where you have the stencils and they have the different shapes. This just tastes like childhood so much. Like, I know it's mainly just flour, sugar, and butter, but it's just childhood like that. So for Zimtsterne, I already ate half of it, so it's like a half star now. They have kind of like this chewy base, like nuts and cinnamon. And then the glaze is white, and it's egg whites and sugar pretty much. Okay, so that was everything that was in the chest. I'm so full now. One more thing that European Deli sent me are Mozartkugeln. If you've ever been to Austria, you know that they're everywhere, especially in Salzburg, because that's where Mozart was born. And yeah, Mozart is on these. And I honestly can't eat one right now because they're very filling, but they're very, very good. They're world famous. They're made by Reba, which is a very renowned brand from Bad Reichenhall, which is a town in Bavaria, where I'm from, right on the border to Austria. And they're basically little truffles that also have marzipan that I already talked about, and they're covered in chocolate. So you don't even have to travel to Austria to get these. And all of the products that I just showed you out of the chest, you can get them separately too if you want. You don't have to commit to the big thing, but if you want to, you can get that one too. It's beautiful. And don't forget that with the code Feli, F-E-L-I, you can get 10% off on your entire order. Now, I know that it's hard to believe, but there are even more German Christmas treats that are very common during that time. I don't think I'm gonna be able to eat even one more bite, but I do have 2 more things that I wanted to show you. And the first thing are Dominosteine. Not everyone likes them in Germany. They're kind of like 50-50. You either love or you hate them. And yes, they're named after a domino, like a little thing that you play with. So this is what they look like. They're kind of little cubes. And then, you know, I kind of ate it anyways, but I didn't do a very pretty bite. But if you take a closer look, you can see that there's different layers here. And it's basically a Lebkuchen layer. Then we have a jelly layer, or like jello, and then the top one is marzipan, yet again, and then it's covered in chocolate, and they come with milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and white chocolate sometimes even. So definitely also something very German. See, I ate it after all. And then I think you kind of got the theme. Marzipan is just a big thing for Christmas, and marzipan doesn't have to be included into other products. It can be its own thing, such as Marzipanbrot, which is literally just like this long stick of marzipan covered in chocolate. Or there's also Marzipankartoffeln, which are literally just little balls of marzipan, not even covered, just like the marzipan itself. I'm not gonna open this right now for you because I really like marzipan and I don't want it to dry out. But basically, if you cut it open, it just looks like a white sugary mass inside, and it's absolutely delicious. And one more little German Christmas treat or Christmas candy that I really feel like would make me feel like home are Schoko-Nikoläuse, so like a chocolate Nikolaus, a chocolate Santa Claus. I do believe that they exist here as well. I mean, they do look like Santa Claus, a lot of them, but in Germany they're kind of supposed to represent Saint Nicholas, which is the historical figure that Santa Claus is based on. But in Germany, we usually give them away for Saint Nicholas, so December 6th, which is a very important holiday, especially for kids. So if you have kids, you can do the whole Saint Nicholas tradition with them as well if you want to make it feel a little bit more German. I'm not going to explain all of that right now, but I did explain that in another video actually 3 years ago, so I'm just going to link that up here. You can check it out over there. But the chocolate Nicholas candies are definitely something that I think of when I think of Christmas, especially my childhood. They come in different sizes. They're like little small ones. Sometimes colleagues give those to each other too on St. Nicholas. It's not just a kids thing. All the different brands have them, so that's also definitely a thing. Okay, so we've covered the food, but what about the drinks? Well, I already mentioned it when I talked about the Christmas markets, but the #1 drink during Christmas time in Germany is, of course, Glühwein, mulled wine in English. It's basically red wine heated up with sugar and different spices such as cinnamon, cloves, anise, and orange peels, and it's just the perfect drink to keep you warm in the winter. That's why you can get it pretty much anywhere in Germany at this time of the year. At all of the Christmas markets, of course, but even bars and restaurants often have it. And we don't drink it out of plastic cups or anything, but out of these little 0.2-liter Glühweintassen, Glühwein mugs. They're kind of an essential part to the experience. But where can I get one of those, you ask? Well, this is a big moment for me. Starting today, you can get them on felifromgermany.com. It's been over a year since I had the idea to make Glühwein mugs for you guys, and it's been a long journey since then, from finding a manufacturer to designing them, and most importantly, getting them here because they're from Germany. And as you guys probably know, logistics are a nightmare right now, so it took forever to get them to the US and it was super complicated. I wasn't sure if they were actually gonna make it in time, but I'm so glad that they're finally here. This is what they look like. They're in a beautiful cobalt blue with a golden print. Designed by Ben, by the way. He's very talented at that. And there's a lot of discover here. We got a little German Christmas poem. It says Frohe Weihnachten, which means Merry Christmas. It says Starte Zeit, which is Bavarian dialect for silent time, which is what Christmas season is supposed to be. And then, of course, the Feli from Germany logo. You can now get these on my shop, felifromgermany.com. There's limited supply, so make sure to be quick. And I've decided to donate 20% of the profit from these to the National Alliance to End Homelessness, which is a nonprofit organization that, as the name says, is fighting homelessness in the US. So with every mug you buy, you're not only getting a beautiful, authentic German Glühwein mug, but you're also making an impact as well. Now, to fill these mugs, you can either buy Glühwein at the store. Aldi sells it in the US, for example, or this one is just from a huge liquor/party store that we have here in Cincinnati, and this is the very official brand that you'll find in Germany as well. But you can literally also make it yourself. All you need is some red wine, and then either you add the ingredients that I mentioned earlier, or you just use this German Glühwein syrup that you can also get at European Deli, and you just mix 4 parts wine with 1 part syrup. So I have both of my mugs filled with Glühwein. This one is the one with the syrup, and then the other one is just the one from the store. And I'm gonna try this with you now. Cheers! This is my first Glühwein of the season. Prost! This is the one with the syrup. I can already say that that literally tastes like it's from a German Christmas market. I'm not lying, it just literally tastes like Glühwein. So does this one. I think this one is a little bit more orangey, the one from the store, so a little bit more fruity. So if I make the one with the syrup again, I will probably add a few orange slices, or at least the orange peels, like you're supposed to, but I sometimes just put a full-on orange slice in there. But they're both very good. This is also the first time that I'm drinking Glühwein out of my own Glühwein mugs. This feels so surreal. They've officially been broken in. By the way, if you're not the biggest fan of red wine, there's also white Glühwein, and there are also many other variations, like you can add a shot of rum to it. We call that mit Schuss, so like Glühwein with shot. Or you can also get it with like a burning rum-soaked sugar cube on top, and then it's called Feuerzangenbowle. Now, away with the Glühwein mugs for now, because I need some more space for another very crucial part of German Christmas, and that is an advent calendar or Adventskalender. Another way that us Germans are keeping a countdown for Christmas. They're mainly for kids, but you can also still have them as an adult. I personally don't see why anyone would choose not to have an advent calendar, but again, they're not a very common thing here in the US, even though I feel like they would fit in perfectly with American Christmas traditions. Adventskalender come in all different shapes and sizes. The most common ones are the ones that you can buy at the store that are typically filled with candy, but they can also come with toys or other things. But what they all have in common is that they have 24 little doors, and starting on December 1st, you get to open one door on each day all the way up till Christmas Eve. So it's an amazing way for kids to keep track of how many more days it is until Christmas, but they'll also get a little treat every day to kind of keep them patient. And you can also make advent calendars yourself. Last year I made one for Ben, and it felt really special because he didn't grow up with this tradition, and it was his very first advent calendar ever, and I just used these little bags and put in a chocolate or a little gift for each day. It's also something that many parents do, and it's just a way to really personalize the advent calendar. This year I have 2 advent calendars. Ben got me this one from Target, so yes, you can buy them in the US, but I feel like 6 years ago when I first came here, it was super rare, and it's become a little more common now. I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining it. But yes, this one he just got me from the store, and Lindt is one of my favorite chocolate brands. They're actually Swiss, not German, but Lindt is super common in Germany, and yeah, this totally feels like home and childhood to me. And then I also got this liquor one from European Deli. As I mentioned earlier, they have a whole section for advent calendars. Lebkuchen Schmidt has one as well, but this one is by Asbach, and it has liquor-filled chocolates. I mean, it doesn't get more German than that, so I'm very excited to try this. As I said, you can get so many different kinds of advent calendars, like there's Barbie ones, there's Lego ones, or I've even heard that they have beer advent calendars. As a child, I also had one that was just like 24 little stories that told the Christmas story, so 24 little booklets with like one part of the Christmas story until on December 24th, baby Jesus was born. I really loved that one too, for example, even though it didn't have any candy. It really doesn't matter what kind of advent calendar it is, but to me, they're just a pretty big part of the German Christmas experience. Now, the last element we need for those German Christmas vibes are decorations. And German Christmas decorations are usually a little more subtle than the ones that you see here in the US. Germans don't really do a lot of the colorful blinking lights and inflatable Santas and stuff like that. Instead, you'll just see a lot of the warm white lights, and if people have any decorations in their yards, which is not very common, but some people do, it'll maybe be like a lit up reindeer, like this one, or what you see a lot is people putting stars in their windows and things like that. One of the most common decorations inside is the Advent wreath, which we already covered. And in addition to that, some households have a Weihnachtspyramide, a Christmas pyramid. They're made out of wood and look like this. They're often decorated with angels and nativity scenes and things like that. And when you light the candles at the bottom, the hot air makes the oars move and the whole thing starts spinning. My parents have one of those, and I found it so fascinating as a child, and I still find it really pretty. Some people also set up a little nativity scene, but I think that's pretty similar in the US. And of course, you need a Christmas tree, which obviously is also something that Americans do, but the tradition of the Christmas tree actually comes from Germany. While in the US, artificial trees are the most common, in Germany, most people have real trees. And again, the decorations tend to be a little more subtle than in the US. Bulb ornaments are very common, straw stars and little figures and things like that. And it's common to have candles on your tree instead of just string lights. Most people use electric ones, but they're still shaped like candles. But in my family, we even put real candles on the tree. Don't worry though, we only light them a few times throughout the season, including Christmas Eve, and every time we do, we watch them very closely, because I know that many people get freaked out by this, but I will say that it creates the most magical atmosphere. In regards to timing, we don't usually set the Christmas tree up until it's almost Christmas. Every family in Germany kind of handles this differently. Some do it on the 23rd, some do it a few days before that. My family has always set the tree up on the morning of Christmas Eve, so on the 24th, and then it stays up until January 6th, which is a Christian holiday called Heilige Drei Könige in German, or in English, Three Kings Day, or Epiphany. One thing that you don't need for a German Christmas, by the way, is a Christmas pickle. I have talked about this a few times, but I know that there are always new people joining, so I just want to say this again. The Christmas pickle ornament that many Americans believe to be an old German tradition, where the parents hide the pickle in the Christmas tree and then the first kid to find it gets an extra gift or something. That's something that most Germans have literally never heard of in their life. There are different theories as to where this custom comes from. It might have German roots, or it might not, but it's definitely not something that's done in modern Germany. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about how Germans celebrate Christmas Eve, which is our main part of Christmas, what we eat, who brings the presents, and how we spend the rest of Christmas, check out this video that I made 3 years ago, because I talked a little bit more about all of the traditions and their origins in there. This video was mainly supposed to be about that Christmas feeling and the atmosphere and all the things you need to create that, and I think that the only thing that I'm missing at this point is a raclette stove. Ben, can I get a raclette stove for Christmas? Thank you. If you've seen the other video, you know that that's what we always eat on Christmas Eve. I hope that this put you guys in Christmas mood a little. It definitely put me in Christmas mood. Make sure to check out European Deli for all of your Lebkuchen and Christmas needs, and I'll leave you with one last ingredient to a real German Christmas, and that's Christmas songs that my family and I sing on Christmas Eve.
Mädchen, hört und Bübchen, macht mir auf das Stübchen, bring euch viele Gaben, sollt euch dann erlaben. Klingenglöckchen, klingelingeling, Klingenglöckchen, kling. Heilige Nacht, alles schläft, einsam wacht, nur das traute, hochheilige Paar. Alle Jahre wieder kommt das Christuskind auf die Erde nieder, wo wir Menschen sind. Geh mit seinem Segen ein in jedes Haus. Geht auf allen Wegen mit uns ein und aus. O Tannenbaum, o Tannenbaum, wie grün sind deine Blätter. Du grünst nicht nur zur Sommerzeit, nein auch im Winter, wenn es schneit. O Tannenbaum,